Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, William.
What did we do this morning?
We saw the Blair Witch the Blair Witch.
Popcorn for breakfast.
Give us a quick synopsis as to why we're even doing this series.
Yes, the first episode of Popcorn for Breakfast. You need a quick explanation as to why we're here and why we call it Popcorn for Breakfast. We live in a very small town with the only movie theater for about 150 miles. So going to see first-run movies on their opening weekend can be pretty crowded.
Yeah,
and
sometimes near impossible.
Yes, and in this day and age, it's important to see movies in theaters on their first weekend before the internet spoils it for you. So,
Which is not at all what we're doing.
Not a crappy internet review show.
Yeah.
No, cut that out.
Legend said there's been a curse on these woods.
Do you believe in the stories about the Blair Witch?
Oh my God.
True to form, this morning's screening of Blair Witch was nearly empty.
Yeah, maybe 10 total people we're thinking.
Including us, yes.
Including us, yeah. That's 10 in the theater, not 10 and then us.
Yeah, we go to see stuff like Star Trek Beyond, Captain America earlier this year, and there's at least 50 people in the theater, even at 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
But no lines to stand in, fortunately. But yeah, this time there were at least 5 rows between us and the next person.
Yeah.
It was great.
So a quick run through as to what this newest Blair Witch was all about. So basically, 12 some odd years later, Heather's younger brother, who was 4 at the time, he's all growed up now. He wants to go look for his sister because this guy online posted a video in the Blair Witch, whatever area, that he thinks showed his sister. So of course he has a friend who is a film student and has all this amazing film tech, which we'll get into in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, let's go look for my sister. And the girl sees it as an opportunity for her film class. So, movie. That's their excuse for recording, is she is a film student.
What is that?
The guy who uploaded this video said it was from a tape he found in the Black Hills woods.
It starts out, it's basically a beat-for-beat remake of the Blair Witch Project from 1999, where you see them gather together, they explain to each other why they're filming. There's a new girl who doesn't know, so that she has to be explained what's going on, so that we get the exposition. But also, it's like, oh, here's the stuff that happens before the trip. Instead of going grocery shopping, they go clubbing because it's 2016 and we want to have some excitement in this film, I guess.
YOLO!
And we also want to show that these Bluetooth cameras,
they can be on all the time, and they're on your ear.
Yeah, and they have really great tiny little microphones that can handle giant loud noises.
And dark scenes.
Yeah, so in the club scene, that really sets that up for you as how well these cameras work.
Yeah.
This looks familiar.
We've been walking in a circle.
No way.
So they go there and they set up that, mild spoilers here, they set up that not only is the Blair Witch, that's what was doing it, the Blair Witch, but it's Slender Man.
Yeah.
We see creepy Slender Man.
It's for sure a supernatural occurrence here.
Yes. It's no longer, are we going insane?
Right.
Is there really a serial killer in the woods?
Yeah, are we just really inexperienced and scared 20-year-olds out in the woods? Which really, that cheapens the original film, because that ambiguity is what I like about that film.
Yeah, we never knew what was killing them.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like at the end. At the end of the first Blair Witch, I wanted to know what was killing them. But it was okay that we never got to see the monster. It actually helped us that we never got to see anything. Because then you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
You're freaked out.
So are they. So it's kind of like you're in the spot with the actors there.
Yeah.
It was really good.
This one's straight up, oh yeah, something's here. Something's definitely here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Things happen.
I just want to say, it looked fake.
Mm-hmm.
The original one, it really was, they were out there. The actors were using the equipment, and the actors were making the film. I give it that. However, in this one, every shot looked blocked. It looked set up. It looked framed the way the director wanted it framed, which completely takes you out of the movie. I think the only thing that looked like it wasn't set up was when she was crawling through the tunnels.
Oh, really? Because I think that was completely set up because she keeps throwing the camera ahead of her, so
Oh,
we
and yet
can
it's
see back
perfectly-
and see her. We can see her crawling. This is her.
I didn't even think about
This
that.
is her Shawshank moment where we get her face on camera crawling through. Yeah, it's for me that was a part of it, but also the way it was edited. In the first movie and in a lot of found footage movies, a big criticism is why do you keep filming after a certain point, like a point of no return? Why is the camera so long? Why are you bothering to run around like Cloverfield guy with this camera when you need both your hands to survive this crisis, right?
And they set it up fine in the first one. It reached that tipping point from I'm recording because I want to record to I'm recording because people need evidence.
Yes.
And that was an okay tipping point. This one didn't. There was no tipping point.
There was no reason for their things to keep being in their ears. And the editing, like on their first night, when they spend a night in a motel near the Blair Woods, they get up and then just cuts them in the car. And it's like, well, if you're filming everything, there's like at least 6-hour gap there.
Yeah.
For no reason. Like
you woke up, y'all took showers, you probably watched the weather.
Maybe you tested your equipment or you charged your batteries or something.
Packed the backpack.
And it's only because there's so much more inane behavior caught on camera to add to the realism of they're just filming candidly.
Yeah.
But it's still edited not in a way that it makes sense too much.
And and like you said, it's edited like a movie. Speaking of editing, I didn't like, you said you didn't quite catch these, but multiple times in the movie, they threw in the witch face. It was like a creepy lady face that for one frame did like Exorcist did, when they put in single frames of like rotting animals and things to make people feel ill.
Or like Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
Or like Tyler Durden.
Which I also missed the first time I saw that in the theater. So it must be something with my eyes. I can't see single frames.
There are 5 separate times that I very clearly saw, and it was usually like this part of the face of like scary witch lady. So
okay.
I didn't like that they did that. There was no reason to do that.
Well, and also with the editing, you've got when they get to the woods. We have our 4 main characters plus 2 hillbillies they pick up as guides. The people who found the original DV tape of Heather that apparently shows Heather Donahue from the first movie running through the house.
Lane and
Purple Girl. Talia.
We don't know her name.
Talia.
We've been walking in a circle.
And they shout her name a couple times because again, it's Blair Witch movie. There's got to be some name shouting going on.
Yeah.
But everyone's got an earpiece, and then Talia and Lane have their own little camera, and then Lisa has her DSLR going. So I mean, when you find, and the drone, all these memory cards at least 7 different locations where they were found, you pick all of them up, and then somehow you put them all, and then you make a movie out of that where you edit, and it cuts to one camera for one part of the scene, and then it cuts to another camera for another part of the scene. And it's like, why wouldn't you just watch that one DV card whole? I think a really daring found footage movie would be you find 4 or 5 DV cards and you watch them one after another, and then each one adds more to the story.
Which I had mentioned to you earlier. The movie, I believe it's called Invasion, which is uncut dash cam from a police car. Which I didn't like the movie, but they were, like you said, they were daring enough to be like, this is how it went.
This way, come on!
Tech ruins movies. They had these like earpiece cameras on the whole movie. Every character has them like this, pointing down, and yet they're getting perfect eye view. You mentioned they're not getting their cheek, which they would have got their cheek in the shot, or at least not had the right side, left side, based on who had what.
And the only glitchiness is just the fake Hollywood glitchiness of a damaged memory card. It goes,
Which I've dropped a DV camera. A DV will do that because the tape is physically moving against the right head.
Right.
Digital cameras, I'm sorry, it will not do that. We are shooting on digital SLRs here. I have dropped my memory card. I have bumped the camera.
I've dropped GoPros off of moving vehicles, and the memory card is fine and usable. It's not,
the footage just turns off. If something happens to the camera, the footage just stops. Some cameras will erase the whole clip, so it's just gone, or it'll just end.
Yeah, but we're nerds. We're not normies.
Yeah.
So that probably went over a lot of people's heads, and it's like the special effects of it. It adds to the tension, like, oh, something's happening so traumatic that the memory card is glitching with all this movement.
I do have to give this movie props. It had some creepy moments. Like the Slender Man disappearing behind the tree. It was a creepy moment because that's a valid, like, something's in the woods. That's creepy. Her getting stuck in the tunnels. That's claustrophobic. It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
it had creepy moments, but you went from Blair Witch 1, which was, we are scared because we have no idea what's going on, to, boo!
Yeah. So many jump scares. It's those Paranormal Activity level of jump scares where it's just, oh, loud noise. Or, oh, you know, someone screamed or something, and it's just, or, oh, the sound, I like the sound in this movie because, no, it was actually my favorite sound effect was when Ashley, the inexperienced girl, cuts her foot.
Oh, it's
and
a
her
tree
foot,
branch noise.
every time it hurts her, her foot makes a sound effect. It's like a crunching bone or a tree branch or something, and eventually that doesn't really pay off. There's just no reason for it other than
they even
she's
show something
disabled.
moving under her skin, and we don't get anything besides her pulling barbed wire out of her leg later.
And I didn't even recognize it as barbed wire. I thought it was like a really wormy, slimy thing.
I just barely caught it.
And again, that's you've put this character through a trial, a conflict. It doesn't pay off. It's like, oh, it's just a thing in her leg.
Yeah, and you just kind of walk away from it.
Yeah, and then she dies later anyway, unrelated to that thing in her leg. You know, and there's the grand callback with Peter standing in the corner when James comes into the house at the end.
Come on! Get in the corner! Don't look!
There was one cool moment that I absolutely loved in the movie, though. When the stick figures really do appear,
Yeah.
Talia, purple-haired girl, she walks up to one of them and she goes,
Two hands.
"The witch," yeah, with two hands, because she doesn't have a camera on her. She goes, "The witch took my hair," and you can see her hair like bound into it. Ashley gets angry at her, takes the stick figure and snaps it in half, and when she does, Talia breaks in half and falls on the ground.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
That was neat. Really cool visuals.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only on-camera death you see in the movie because it's all creepy and mysterious and people die off camera.
Yeah. To explain our ranking system, so people understand this, we have 3 ranks. It did not pop, which means the movie was kind of bad, or just bad. We have it popped, which we didn't mind spending the ticket price. It wasn't great, but yeah, we didn't mind spending the ticket. And then we have buttered, which buttered is Hateful Eight, Mad Max, like these movies. We were like, okay, when is the DVD coming out?
Yes.
So that's our ranking system. So, Stephen, did this movie pop for you?
Sadly, I must give it an unpopped kernel. It has a lot of cool ideas, but it just reeks of Hollywood looking backwards in time to something that was popular and trying to mine that for new dollars now.
Yeah.
It's basically, to me, it's if the original directors had GoPros and CGI, that's the movie they would have made in 1999.
Yeah.
If they had that. But really, the magic or the charm of the original Blair Witch Project was that it was all real. It was 3 people who didn't know how to camp with their cameras out in the woods filming a movie ad hoc.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't scary, but it was cool.
Yeah.
This movie just cheapens all of that.
Yeah. Same for me. This movie did not pop. Should have been in the microwave for 10 more seconds, and it maybe would have popped. All the fake took me out of the movie. I couldn't get interested in it because it felt fake. You mentioned, like we were talking about it before when we left the theater, you mentioned Paranormal Activity, and it was exactly the same way. Yeah. It felt fake. It felt blocked. It felt set up.
Lots of jump cuts,
Lots of jump
scares,
cuts.
loud noises, yeah.
Yeah.